capable of being negative with
yes,
our words.
way.
I want you to hear me today, beloved ones. If you control what you say, if you'll avoid excessive talking, if you'll be conscious of the words that are coming out of your mouth so that you're not speaking carelessly, if you'll focus on speaking about positive things, and if you'll avoid criticizing and judging other people, you will build up God's power in your spirit and it will cause you to ascend out of darkness into your life. By practicing these disciplines, your whole life is going to be transformed. It's just that simple. It's like James said, even as a small rudder controls the whole ship, so too, if you'll focus on what comes out of your mouth and control it, it's going to determine the spiritual trajectory of your life. You're going to grow up in God's Spirit and walk into peace. I've always liked a very simple approach to ministry in both my preaching and, beloved ones, in helping God's people understand why it's important to support ministry with our finances. I'm reading a very simple portion of scripture I've referred to before, but I love it because it's so simple and so authentic. Listen to what John says in the book of 3 John, verse 7 and 8. Speaking of those that are sent out to preach the gospel, he says this, "For they went out for the sake of the name." And then he continues in the 8th verse by saying this, "Therefore, we ought to support such men so that we may be fellow workers with the truth." You see, not everybody's called to do what I do. Not everyone's called to travel to Africa, Israel, etc. But you can have a part in the lives that are being changed through my ministry, beloved ones, by supporting this ministry. I want to ask you, if you believe in the word that I'm preaching, if you believe that there's authentic fruit, and if you're being helped, I want to ask you to support this ministry financially. You're going to be blessed and have a reward for the lives that are being saved and changed.
That's our Bible teacher, Rabbi Schneider, and I want to encourage you to keep listening because he's going to be back shortly with this sacred blessing. And first, if you feel the Lord leading you to financially support discovering the Jewish Jesus with a gift of any amount, please connect with us right now. You can call us at 888-MY-RABBI. That's 888-697-2224. And if it's easier for you, just go online to discoveringthejewishjesus.com. And finally, you can also send your financial donation in kind. Our address is Discovering the Jewish Jesus, P.O. Box 777, Louisville, Michigan 49228. And as a token of our appreciation when you give, we'll send you Rabbi Schneider's Message of the Month. And it's available as a digital download along with our engaging and insightful monthly newsletter. And then don't forget, if you haven't signed up for Rabbi's free devotional called Seeds of Revelation, you can do that right now. This devotional email will provide you with the latest ministry news and updates, Power Minute video, prayer alerts, and so much more. And the best part is that it's delivered automatically straight to your email inbox every single week. So
please leave your message.
Book of Numbers, chapter 6. So listen to these words and receive the blessing of the Lord into your life today. Yavarechecha Yahweh vayishmarecha. Ya'er Yahweh panav elecha ויחונך יישא יהוה פניו אליך והשם לך The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift you up with his countenance, and the Lord give you, beloved one, his peace. God bless you, and shalom.
I'm Dustin Roberts, and Discovering the Jewish Jesus is a production of Shalom Ministries. Make sure to join us again tomorrow when Rabbi Schneider explains the way of the just. That's Friday on Discovering the Jewish Jesus.
So do you ever think about the fact that Jesus was 5 years old, 6, 7 years young? Discovering the Jewish Jesus presented by Shalom International Ministries, pre-recorded, and what he faced as being a youngster, growing up, knowing fully God, fully man. And so tomorrow, in light of quote-unquote facing the music, very tough pill to swallow, so Jesus growing up was a Jewish man, Jewish family. He identified as the Lion of Judah, the Son of David. So why have we distanced as a church many, many times? Seems like we distance Jesus from his Jewish nature. So Rabbi Schneider tomorrow helping us restore Jesus' Jewish identity, and it actually plays a huge role, and it's beautiful in realizing, all that we believe and all that we know when we understand Jesus' Jewish heritage, it all becomes crystal clear in making even more sense, and then understanding truly that the Bible is the Word of God, that it is to be trusted. Old Testament, New Testament, 66 books, all correlated. Powerful. That discussion tomorrow with Rabbi Schneider. By the way, I don't know if you've heard that Rabbi Schneider, we've got an evening with Rabbi coming up October 9th, Core Church, and Pastor Scott Furrow is hosting Discovery with Rabbi Schneider, Discovering the Jewish Jesus, on October 9th, Core Church. Space is limited, and it's free. So KKLA.com, keyword Rabbi, KKLA.com, keyword Rabbi, October 9th, an evening with Rabbi Kurt Schneider, Core Church, Pastor Steve Wilburn, free. Reserve your seats, KKLA.com, KKLA.com, keyword Rabbi. Alan Jackson next.
How has prayer impacted your life?
A simple way of describing prayer would be talking to God. And I don't know how you can have a relationship with someone you don't talk to.
Join the KKLA prayer community at kkla.com, keyword prayer.
For 40 years, families have loved LifeSource water systems. Their systems filter water from every tap. Call 1-800-WATER-99 or visit lifesourcewater.com. Warranty and offer restrictions apply.
Life happens. Need cash out of your home? It's your equity and your decision. But when does it make sense? Hi there, it's TJ from Right Choice Mortgage. I've been doing mortgages for over 40 years and getting your finances in a good, safe place. If you're carrying a lot of credit card debt, that heavy ball and chain around your neck with rates at 25%, why, it might be a good idea to consolidate all your debt into your mortgage. What will you do with the savings? Purchase a piece of California real estate. It's a great time to buy. In just 10 short years, home values have jumped 95%. But when rates drop, everyone will be getting back into the market. Then prices will skyrocket. Call my cell, 833-889-3863. 833-889-FUND.
DRE 01943736, NMLS 1132583.
Hey, Philip DeCourcy of Know the Truth, inviting you to join me for the inaugural Know the Truth Golf Tournament and Dinner on October the 7th at Alta Vista Country Club in Placentia, California. It's not just a day on the greens, it's the chance to win prizes, forge new friendships, and make a difference by your investment in the ministry. After the tournament, join us for a delightful dinner where I'll be sharing inspiring stories and exciting updates about the Know the Truth ministry. Whether you're a solo player or have a foursome ready to tee off, we've got a spot for you. And for businesses or individuals looking to amplify their impact, we offer exclusive sponsorship opportunities that blend support for our cause with promotion for your brand. To register and learn more, visit ktt.org. I look forward to seeing you on the golf course and telling you all about what the Lord is doing through Know the Truth. See you on October the 7th.
99.5 KKLA. Find hope here.
Alan Jackson, presented by Alan Jackson Ministries, is pre-recorded.
Thank you for joining Alan Jackson Ministries.
Put away your idols. We don't worship little things carved out of wood, metal, and stone anymore. But an idol is anything that you give priority to above the Lord. Now, you'll need to process that on your own. I don't need to make lists for you. But I would encourage you to say a simple prayer, something like this: Lord, if there's anything in my life that I have given a place that is inappropriate, help me to see it. My objectives, what I want, what I most would like to do is honor you with my life. And I'm telling you, that's more than putting your rear end in a chair in the church service.
Our ministry is to spread God's truth across our nation and around our world. And Alan Jackson Ministries intends to do this in every possible way, including broadcasts like these. If you'd like to listen to the full sermon, you can find it right now on alanjackson.com, on our podcast, and on our app. All of this is available thanks to our supporters. Together, our goal is to help people become more fully devoted followers of Jesus who lead with their faith everywhere they go. Learn more at alanjackson.com. Before we get to today's message, we want to tell you about some helpful tools that can help focus your prayer life. If you're tired of what's happening around us, pray. Our diligent prayers can change lives, situations, and even the course of nations. We can't afford not to pray. When you donate $15 or more today, we'll send you some resources that can help. First, a copy of Pastor Allen's popular prayer book, Let's Pray. Next, we'll send you 4 prayer cards that focus on our nation, the children, the church, and Israel. And finally, as an extra thank you for your support, you'll gain access to Pastor Allen's new 4-session email series about prayer. Thousands of us will be praying these prayers across the nation. Let's get ready to see how God responds. You can request all of these resources when you donate $15 or more at alanjackson.com or by calling 855-577-2255. That's 855-577-2255. We're so glad you're here to listen. Today's program will complete the message we began yesterday. Here's Pastor Allen with part 2 of Overcoming Evil and Serving God.
So after the Exodus and the journey through the wilderness, we have the conquest. We have to conquer the promised land. That's the book of Joshua. And then the book of Judges is how they lived in the promised land. There was no central government. They had 12 tribes. There was no capital city. There was no central authority. When there was a need for a corporate response from the people of God, God would raise up a leader. Those were the judges. You know them: Samson, Gideon, Barak, Deborah. The last of the judges is Samuel, and the tribal leaders say to Samuel, "We want a king." And we have the beginning of the monarchy. We'll talk more about that when we get a little further into the story. But Joshua and Judges fit right into this window of time between slavery in Egypt and when the kings begin. So they're going to be ahead of all the prophets that are at the end of your Old Testament. They're before Isaiah and Jeremiah and Habakkuk and Amos the farmer. They're going to precede the Apostle Paul, but they're after the book of Genesis, so they come after Noah. They come after Cain and Abel. They come after all of those Genesis characters. Joshua and the book of Judges, they fit right into this period where God's people occupy the land that he gave them, and he watches over them. God's intent. So So understanding Joshua's journey, I would submit, will help you and me understand ours a bit. He led a very extraordinary life. Joshua begins his life as a slave in Egypt. He has no imagination of anything ever beyond that, no opportunity for that. There's no power to help him. There's no education to help him. There are no resources to help him. But God intervenes. His story concludes with the former slaves of Egypt occupying the promised land. And Joshua was the leader of those slaves. High drama. It's a very dramatic life. It's filled with soaring victories, Red Sea parting, amazing things, and impossible difficulties. At the end of the book of Joshua, you haven't quite gotten there yet, but look at Joshua 24:20. Joshua's giving a message to the people. He said, if you forsake the Lord and serve foreign gods, he'll turn and bring disaster on you. And he'll make an end of you after he's been good to you. Folks, there's this message that resonates around contemporary Christendom, that God is about a group hug in the next verse of Kumbaya. I would agree with you that he's a God of love, that Jesus' message had a great deal to do with love, but he's also a God of justice. And those that have known him the best, those that have walked with him, those that have experienced his power the most and have seen the demonstrations of the goodness of God are the ones that seem to give us the message with the most clarity that God will not be mocked. And when Joshua comes to the end of his strength, he gathers the people that he's given his life to. And he said, don't forsake the Lord. Don't forsake the Lord. Don't be distracted. Don't enjoy your vineyards. Don't point at your newfound farms. Don't celebrate your victories. Seek the Lord. But the people said to Joshua, we will serve the Lord. And Joshua said, you're witnesses against yourselves that you've chosen to serve the Lord. Yes, we are witnesses, they replied. And Joshua said, throw away the foreign gods that are among you and yield your hearts to the Lord, the God of Israel. That sentence causes me, I don't know the right word, consternation, amazement. You remember the people who occupied the promised land with Joshua were the second generation, the first generation that left Egypt, the ones that saw the plagues as adults, the ones that were at Marah in Exodus 15 when the water was bitter and the water was made sweet. That whole group of adults died in the wilderness because they said God couldn't complete the story. And God said, fine, you can wander in the desert for 40 years. You understand, every generation has to make a decision for themselves. Every generation has to make a decision for yourselves. Parents, the greatest gift you can give your children is to prepare them to seek the Lord. To give them a momentum, to model it for them. Live it out for them. Show them the joys of serving the Lord, not the burden, not the loathsome intrusion of God into our lives, but that the delight of your life is the opportunity to know God. Let them catch that from you more than they catch anything else. Your actions will speak far louder than any words. But that generation's all gone. They said God can't do it. And their children are the ones that crossed the Jordan River with Joshua and conquer the promised land. And now Joshua is at the end of his life. So there's another generation that has emerged. There's another group of young faces looking up at Joshua, and listen to his instruction. Did you hear it? He said, throw away the foreign gods that are among you. Are you kidding me? Plagues, Red Sea parting, water from a rock, manna for 40 years, an entire generation obliterated because of their lack of faithfulness. And Joshua says, listen, you really should think about getting rid of your idols. Before we point accusing fingers at anybody else, could we just acknowledge how easy it is to be distracted by false things? To give our hearts and our souls and our ambition and the goals of our lives to things that will sift through our fingers. I've spent a good bit of time lately in hospitals and sitting with people facing some real life challenges. And folks, I'm telling you, what you invest in eternity, you'll take with you. The rest of it, somebody else is going to have. Put away your idols. And we don't worship little things carved out of wood and metal and stone anymore. But an idol is anything that you give priority to above the Lord. Now, you'll need to process that on your own. I don't need to make lists for you. But I would encourage you to say a simple prayer, something like this: Lord, if there's anything in my life that I have given a place that is inappropriate, help me to see it. My pleasure, my objectives, what I want, what I most would like to do is honor you with my life. And I'm telling you, that's more than putting your rear end in a chair in a church service from time to time. And I'm for church. Come often. Bring your friends. You're just trying to grow the church. You figured me out. Aren't you trying? I know you are.
Thank you for listening to Alan Jackson Ministries. We'll be back to the message in just a moment. But first, Pastor Alan wants to tell you about some powerful resources we're offering this month.
If you get frustrated...